Hello everyone, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry. So we're kind of in the thick of it here. See, everybody was kind of ganging up on Kraus, saying that he knows where the gold is, or that he is, obtained money through pretty illegitimate means, such as stealing, from, old granddaddy here with all the money and not much life left. So they've kind of been pointing their fingers at him and trying to make a deal with him just to kind of sweep it all under the rug. Everybody gets a lot of money and they all go their separate ways or whatever. But Kraus isn't having any of that. He is now turning the tables, if you will, in a very literal sense, probably. And he is kind of pointing the fingers back at everybody else. He's already attacked Hideyoshi, showing that, oh yeah, he's kind of in a screwed situation where he can really just lose control of his company because he's doing a really shit job, apparently. And now it's Rudolph's turn. But I think what this is showing, and I think we're all on the same page here, even the game has just straight up told us, that everybody really just needs the money. Everybody needs, like, a whole bunch of money, like, during this trip. They want to walk away with, $750 million or what? I don't know. I don't think it was million. It was like a crazy amount of money. Maybe it was like 750,000 or something. And it's not dollars, it's yen. But either way, everybody wants to walk away with 10%, I believe, of what they want to get from Kraus at the end of this trip or whatever. And it's very obvious why for everybody. Also, I guess we're kind of just learning a little bit about everybody's companies kind of all at once. I mean, Kraus's, resort and vacation sort of ideas have kind of fallen flat, and he is in crazy debt. And then we've learned a little bit about Hideyoshi's, I think, like a restaurant company business sort of thing he's got going on here. But he's losing control of it because the shareholders are not happy. And he's trying to buy back the stock so he can have some better control and not get booted out. So what does Rudolph have going on for him? What's his business ventures all about? Also, this wind is really loud.
まあ仕事上のトラブルさ。大したことじゃない。金でケリのつく話さ。
Yep, of course. Kyrie immediately guessed the meaning behind the subtle expression on Rudolph's face. Her husband had gotten wrapped up in some kind of trouble without her knowledge, and had been worrying over it alone.
その通りさ。世の中なんだって金でケリがつく。
100%.
失った兄弟の絆だって買い戻せるようにな。
Yep.
アメリカは権利侵害などにはうるさい国だ。だが金さえあれば何でも和解できる。資本主義万歳だよ。もっとも、和解金は数百万ドルにも及びそうだとの噂もあるがね。
Rudolph had been building a large amount of wealth with a certain type of niche industry. However, a niche is a niche. Yeah, I mean, if you're into any niche, you are kind of digging yourself a hole, but you have to knowingly be digging your hole there. It definitely wasn't a business exposed to the light of day. An American corporate giant was trying to accuse Rudolph's company of violating their rights. Sounds very American. For various reasons, it was thought that victory for Rudolph in this trial would be extremely unlikely, and he was being forced into an all-out surrender. But even so, there was a way for this to be resolved with money. Of course, settlements, they're huge. Settling something, like, oh yeah, we will look the other way. We'll let this go. I mean, that's kind of what's going on here, if you will. If he could just pay that money, it might still be painful, but he'd be able to pick himself back up. But if he didn't pay, he'd lose everything. Therefore, here we go again. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now. So this was the same thing that popped up with Hideyoshi. The game is really just screaming at us here that, yeah, everybody is in the same boat. Everybody has come together because they really need money right now, and they're going to want to continue to get a whole lot of money, so much so that they see Kraus as the perfect opportunity. Here's another thing, by the way. I'm doing a lot of rambling, but Kraus has been kind of picking on Rosa. I don't know if this is something that's happened in their past, but Rosa, being the youngest, sort of seems to be the one that Kraus calls upon in order to get a true message from, well, if we can call them like their own party, because they have kind of been grouped up attacking Kraus, then yeah, he's been definitely going after her for some sort of message out of the meaning of their actions here. Man, this man really has done his research. Whoa. Even beyond the breeze, which is really fucking annoying, Rosa uncharacteristically laid bare her emotions and yelled. After all, no one was supposed to know that. As Kraus watched, he let slip a muffled laugh. The only people that are supposed to know about co-signing is your credit bureaus. I mean, come on now. Without exception, every one of them, yeah, here we go again, more than anything else, wanted a lot of money right now. Honestly, I'd love to have a whole lot of money right now. Pay off my car, start saving up for, you know, a house that I can't afford anywhere in California. You know, that'd be cool. Just the idea. In other words, the situation had been reversed. After all, the person the younger siblings were threatening was the only one who had no urgent need for a large sum of money. The other three, however, wanted a lot of money quickly, no matter the cost. In other words, the longer it took to establish this deal, the better position Kraus would be in. I really hope the music here isn't like supposed to be anything crazy, because I cannot hear it whatsoever. Like, I have the music on a pretty low volume while recording, and the finished product does come out with the music being pretty damn quiet, which is fine by me. That's kind of the goal here. But I can still hear the music regularly. I cannot hear it at all right now. Kraus was extremely sly. He had known of their Achilles' heel from the beginning. Achilles? Is that how you pronounce it? I know what that means, but even so, he had not been certain. Therefore, he had hidden his knowledge until the very end, striking back only after analyzing their attitudes. But he wants to get rid of that one condition. To pay that 10% right up front. Okay, so it was $750 million. Okay. Kraus's elated words were so obviously detached from what he actually felt. The other siblings could do nothing more than listen, grinding their teeth. If they could think of a sponsor that convenient, they wouldn't have kept up the charade. They had entered this huge battle specifically because they had exhausted all other options. Oh, what a laugh. I swear, all these characters have some sort of laugh. Kraus's low, gloating laugh began to fill the parlor. We will learn everybody's laugh by the end of Umineko, for sure. The younger siblings, who had been driving the oldest brother into a corner until a moment ago, could do nothing more than grimace and grind their teeth.
Eva!
冗談じゃないわ。兄さんに借りなんか作れるもんですか。冗談じゃない。冗談じゃない。クラウス兄さんを頼ったらどう助けてくれるの？
言ったではないか。私にできるのは他のスポンサーを探すだけだよ。
But what's the catch?
もちろん利息を融通してもらえるようには最大限交渉するがね。
Yeah, I'm not trusting that shit.
ちくしょう、足元見やがって。
あなた
I mean, we're kind of... Everybody here is kind of doing the same shit to him. They're taking advantage of his poor situation.
落ち着いて。
落ち着いてる
It's
ぜ。
just that everybody here can
俺は
apparently
極
do
めて
their
冷静だ
research.
ぜ。クソったりが。
Kyrie grabbed her husband's hand, but that action made him feel even more pitiful, so Rudolph shook it off. Kraus laughed as though watching something highly amusing.
こんな時
Can somebody close the
本当に
goddamn
親父
window
殿の
already?
隠し黄金が見つかればいいんだがね。そうすればすぐに25億ずつをこの場で切り分けてやれるのだが、残念残念残念至極。非常に極めて実にどうしようもなく残念だ。今宵は兄弟みんなで酒を酌み交わしながら、ベアトリーチェの碑文の謎をみんなで解き明かしてみようじゃないかね。
Oh, how funny.
仲良し兄弟が4人揃えばきっと解けない謎はないはずさ。
Oh my god, that laugh. It uses the entire line. Jesus Christ. That's when you know this man is pure evil. I think everybody's got like a lot of evil to them here. Oh, thank God we don't have to listen to that fucking sound effect anymore. That was so annoying. All right, what's up, Kinzo? What is old Kinzo up to?
面白いことをする。
What is he listening in?
それでその突きつけた条件というのは何か。
はい。クラウス様は黄金の発見を問わずに、その分け前としてエヴァ様、ルドルフ様、ローザ様に計75億円を支払うこと。
This is very interesting.
ただしその1割を3月までに支払うこと。
Oh, before March. Wait, we're in October, right? Yeah, we're in October. Okay, I guess people aren't necessarily leaving the island with like 750 big ones with them. I mean, they probably would like to, but I guess that is a little unreasonable.
クラウスの間抜けめ、弟たちに足をさらわれるとはな、実に愉快ではないか。しかし、爪が甘いようだな。
Oh, 100%.
はい。クラウス様はそれをエヴァ様以下お三人が緊急に大金を用立てする必要があるためとカンパされました。
ふん、その程度のことはカンパできるのか。
Obvious.
中途半端に無能な男め。今はどうしている？
話は一度中断されました。今はベアトリーチェ様の碑文の話をされています。
私の黄金がどこに隠されているのか、その謎を解こうとか。
He talks about it as if it's real.
はい。
Which means it must be real. Kinzo set down his spectacles and snorted.
奇跡の成就が先か。愚か者どもが黄金を暴くのが先か。実に見ものではないか。
What do you mean by miracle?
愚か者どもが我が謎を解き明かしたなら、その時は私のすべての敗北だ。我が屍を骨の一かけらまでしゃぶり尽くすがいい。愚か者どもの貪欲さが偉大なる魔法に奇跡を宿らせるのだ。だがもし奇跡の成就が先だったなら、ベアトリーチェは再び蘇る。
Uh-oh. What is this old geezer up to?
私が半生をかけて追い求めたあの美少が蘇るのだ。おー、ベア
Oh,
ト
here he
リー
goes
チェ。
again.
奇跡を落とす聖なる夜がやってくるぞ。悪魔たちとのゲームが始まるぞ。私はきっと打ち勝つ。絶対に生き残る。他の奴らの命はくれてやる。
Okay.
富も名誉も財産も黄金も何もいらぬ。
All he needs is...
ただお前
Yep,
の
there it
微
is.
笑みがもう一度見たいだけなのだ
Beatrice. Or coughing. And death. So he is actually sacrificing his whole family here. Wow. Kinzo choked, apparently in great pain. Kanon got closer and tried to pat his master's back, but Kinzo motioned for him to stop.
なぜ私が黄金の隠し場所をわざわざ人目に触れるように晒したかわかるか
Because it's funny?
いえ、
魔法の力はリスクで決まるからだ。ベアトリーチェの黄金を暴こうとする人間が多ければ多いほど
And the greater chance of her coming back to life?
その危険が高まれば高まるほどにそれでもなお成就できたとき魔法の力は偉大なる奇跡を起こせるのだ
Okay, something along those lines, probably.
魔法とはつまりお前には少し難しいか
Yeah, a little bit.
申し訳ございません。
そして後宮家の家督私が築き上げてきた全てだ
Do you have that written in your will that you were supposed to have written already?
その謎に挑む資格があるのは何も私の息子たちだけとは限らぬたとえお前であってもその謎を解けたなら全てを売る資格があるのだ
You hear that, guys? There's still a chance. Maybe I could afford a home at some point.
はい。ですが、
All I gotta do is figure out where
あ
that
のような
fucking
難
gold
しい謎
is.
は分かりかねます。
誰もが挑めそして我が魔法に力を捧げるのだわかるな
はい。努力します。
Damn, he's having his fucking servants in on it too. For a long while, Kinzo repeatedly muttered to himself, agitated and clutching at his head. Kanon stayed where he was, alert and unmoving, until he was given the next order from his master. Kinzo eventually realized this.
もうよい下がれ酒棚に菓子の袋があろう
Hey, yo!
ダチンに持っていくがよい
結構です。僕は家具ですから。
ふん家具は菓子など食わぬか道理だがならばもう下がれ
はい。失礼いたします。
That's interesting. I do find it surprising. Obviously, we don't know these characters well enough, especially the servants here, Kinzo. We don't know anybody truly enough at this point. But an interesting interaction between those two. Obviously, I mean, Kanon is employed here. He works here. This is where his life is right now, along with Shonon and the rest of the servants. But it just felt odd seeing that he was doing some, sneaking around and gathering information from, Kinzo's own family, his own, children, which is, I don't know, it's just odd. Truly odd that he was just collecting that information for him, as if it was, as Kinzo said, a game. Kanon bowed and left the study. As the door closed, a heavy locking noise sounded out. I hear that every time I load into the goddamn game. Loud and all. Except for that noise. But it was not the sound of Kanon locking the door, it was the door locking automatically. No one could enter without Kinzo's permission, and once they left, they could not enter again. It was a mechanism that Kinzo, unable to trust his blood relatives, had created to seal himself up in his own study and isolate himself from the outside world. He was already unable to trust anyone excepting not the children who shared his blood, but those servants who called themselves furniture. Which I still find odd, also. The idea of the servants, with Kanon especially, referring to himself as furniture.
いかがなさいましたかああ、源氏さん。いや、何居場所がなくなりましてな。
Okay, so I don't remember who it was, so whoever it was, you may take all the credit. Somebody left a comment whenever we first saw this this lovely painting of Beatrice, and they said that based on your perspective of the painting, you can kind of see as if she's smiling, like a very small smile. Like right now, it kind of looks like her lips are, curved a little bit there on the left and the right, maybe. But the portrait that we see in Kinzo's study. That one, from the perspective, it's kind of like to the right, like you're looking at it from the right. It looks as if she is just, you know, standard expression. No smiling whatsoever. If anything, it looks more like a frown. So that's interesting. Little neat thing there. Maybe I'm overlooking it. With a bitter laugh, Nanjo turned to face the door to the parlor. That look was apparently enough to tell Genji what Nanjo wanted to say. For the most part, Genji also understood the family situation. It must have made him want to frown, knowing that right now in the lounge, the master he served was being discussed so disrespectfully. But it would have been very difficult to gather that from his indifferent expression.
しかし、私にはわかりませんな。どうして金蔵さんはこんな挑発的なものを書かれたのでしょう。
Nanjo looked at the portrait of Beatrice. No, he actually directed his gaze beneath the portrait, at the plate with the epitaph.
私には親方様のお考えは分かりかねます。深いお考えがあってのこととお察しします。
金蔵さんのチェス
I mean, I'll continue to ask the questions, if anything.
読みで布石を打たれるものでした。いや、時には理解できない一手さえ、私ごとき凡庸では何を目論まれているのか皆目見当もつきませんな。
私はこれを親方様の何かの遺言状ではないかと考えています。それを理解できた者に財産や家督をお譲りになられようということなのでしょう。
Oh, more than that. Like, he just said to Kano that whoever actually does solve this riddle, you know, basically finds the gold and figures it all out, whatever Kinzo is put together, they get literally everything to Kinzo's name. Wealth, honor, inheritance, shit, maybe even his clothes. You get to wear that fucking cape or whatever that he's got on. That is the true reward.
兄弟4人で協力し合って謎を解けということではないかということですな。金蔵さんは息子さんたちのことを口悪く罵ってはいますが、
I don't know, he sees them as
仲を取り戻してほしいと願われているのかもしれません。
he seems to see them all in like a bit of as an embarrassment, honestly. He is not happy with them. I don't think he gives too much of a shit if they make up and are, you know, all friendly with one another or not. Like, that is not important to him whatsoever. It certainly would be heartwarming if, as Nanjo had suggested, this epitaph had been made to repair the siblings' relationship. However, both Nanjo and Genji knew that nothing could be more impossible than this. They had known Kinzo longer than anyone, and Kinzo trusted them more than his own relatives. But even they could not guess at his true motives. Kinzo really is an enigma, huh? Or crazy. Or both.
常々おっしゃっています。南條先生はいかがですか。
いやいや、この老いぼれには少々難解が過ぎますな。実は以前この碑文を手帳に記しましてな、夜な夜な寝る前に挑んでみたのですが実に難しい。
Yeah, like, again, I've said this probably, and if not, I will say it again. I suck at riddles, puzzles, anything of the sort. I will not be able to solve them, even if the answer is somewhere on my screen. It is not happening. I just really suck at them.
ゆっくり楽しむことができそうです。源氏さんこそいかがですかな。
私めは親方様にお仕えする家具に過ぎません。
The way they call themselves furniture, man, that just bugs the shit out of me.
やれやれ、本当に謙虚な方です。だからこそ金蔵さんもあなたには心を許されるのでしょう。
ならば光栄なことです。
As Nanjo lightly laughed in response, he once again looked at the epitaph.
懐かしき故郷を貫く鮎の川、黄金鏡を目指す者よ、これを下りて鍵を探せ。
That tells me we need to go into the forest. and get lost and probably die. The epitaph on the portrait, called My Beloved Witch Beatrice, goes as follows. Behold the Sweetfish River running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. There sleeps the key to the golden land. The one who obtains the key must then travel to the golden land in accordance with these rules. On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. On the third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. On the fourth twilight, gouge the head and kill. On the fifth twilight, gouge the chest and kill. On the sixth twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the seventh twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the eighth twilight, gouge the leg and kill. On the ninth twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. On the 10th twilight, at journey's end, you shall attain to the power of the Golden Land's treasures once and for the last time. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold from the Golden Land. One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be to put the witch to sleep for all time. Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch, Beatrice. What in the goddamn fuck did I just read? Because I have no idea. I have no idea what all that was. Hey, it's 3 o'clock. Yeah, I have no idea what I just read. Truly the ramblings of an old man who has lost his mind. A lot of his sanity, probably. Okay, before you talk about it, I got the chime, if you will. Oh, yep, here we go. I guess we can refer back to the epitaph at any point. Not that I really want to anytime soon, but I guess as we continue along, there may be something in here that becomes a little bit more important. I don't know if the grimoire has anything, and I don't remember if it was people in my Discord or people in the comments saying, oh boy, Michael, get ready, you are going to need to know the large Japanese numbers at some point. No, I'm not reading this. And again, I remember what a kotatsu is, and I think that the rest of these, I'm pretty sure we've read all of these tips so far. So we are good on tips, and I don't think anything has changed in the characters. I think everybody is still relatively the same, but we're getting to know them a little bit more just by everybody yelling at each other.
黄金鏡に至るだろう。しかしマリアは豆だな。ちゃんとメモしてるとは偉いぜ。
マリアは忘れっぽいからちゃんと書く。ママに言われたからちゃんと書く。
Honestly, a very smart idea. It seems as if once you get into your 20s, you begin to forget a lot of things. That's a me issue. There was a notebook inside the handbag Maria was always carrying around, and Beatrice's epitaph was copied into it. Thanks to that, we were all able to challenge the puzzle of the epitaph while walking down this beach. Jessica and the rest had already tried to solve it several times, and had already gotten bored with it. However, since this was a first for me, I was so excited that I couldn't stop. It really tickled my sense of adventure.
まず1行目。懐かしき故郷を貫く鮎の川か。じい様の故郷ってどこだっけ？
戦前の後ろ宮家は小田原のあたりに屋敷を構えてたって聞いたぜ。
Alright, let's leave the island.
で、となりゃ小田原に流れてる鮎の泳ぐ川に関心がいくわけだろ？
Are there any sweet fish that actually,
まずはその
it's a
川が
sweet
起点
fish
になるから
river.
な。
Okay, so it's just a river in general. We don't need to have the fish.
んで、黄金鏡を目指す者はそいつを下って鍵を探せとあるわけだ。小田原にある川ってなんだ？鮎が泳ぐ川だぜ。
小田原で鮎って言ったら早川だろうね。 渓流釣りで有名だよ。
マリア魚嫌い。
Yeah, I'm not too big on fish as well. There's just nothing to really gain from them, in my opinion. But that's my perspective.
マリアももう少し大きくなったらわかるぜ。鮎の塩焼きをベロベロベロってな。うまいぜ。さっき飯食ったばっかりだってのに、もう腹が減ってきちまうぜ。
See, I don't really eat seafood either.
ビスケットでもお持ちしましょうか？
悪い悪い。そんなつもりで言ったんじゃないぜ。気にすんな。
Nope, that's just Battler rambling off, this and that, a little bit of everything, and trying to make, jokes, trying to be the funny one. Shunin-chan was faithfully keeping us company since she didn't have any afternoon chores for a while. I would have thought that since she's a servant, accompanying us would force her to take care of us and tire her out, but that didn't seem to be the case for her. On the contrary, she seemed to enjoy joining in on a conversation with people close to her age. When I asked, I heard that she was the sort of worker whose room and board were supplied by her employer. So normally, the only person close to her in age was Jessica. Yeah, I can imagine how that might be pretty dull. That's messed up, come on now.
小田原で愛の川って言えば、早川だってことは分かった。となりゃ、下るしかねえよな。早川を下ると、何があるんだろうな。
下流に出て、海に出ると思います。
そうさ。河口部に出る。そして、碑文の3行目には、川を下れば、やがて里ありとあるな。
Okay, is there a village that you'll eventually find?
ちなみに、そういう河口部は大抵、大昔から輸送の要衝になってて、大きな都市があるもんさ。ここが、次のチェックポイントだな。
なかなかいい筋だね。バトラ君の想像通り、そこは大昔にとても栄えたことだよ。小田原城があるところだね。
Okay, there we go.
修学旅行で小田原城に行った気がします。素敵なお城でしたよ。
ああ、私も小田原城だったぜ。洋館に住んでてなんだが、やっぱり日本人は和風の方が落ち着くよな。
マリア、お城退屈。
No, they're not. It's like you've been transported to a completely different world. A world full of, I don't know, wealth, prosperity.
遊園地がいい。
そうかそうか。よしよし。
Honestly, I get it. She's 9 years old. Fuck all that shit. But when I was little, I felt the same way. I remember going on a field trip to Hearst Castle. And, thinking back on it now, I didn't really get to appreciate that because why the hell would I want to go on a tour of a castle? What the fuck? But nowadays, man, that'd be a whole lot of fun. Learning the history about all of it all over again and, seeing all the rich, very pricey things that are there. And also the upkeep. God damn.
小田原城の隠し黄金。お？こりゃなんだかいかにもって感じだよな。
まあ、2年前の私たちもそこまでは行き着いたぜ。小田原で鮎の泳ぐ川を下った里。そこが多分小田原城あたりだろうってところまでは私たちも行き着いたさ。問題は次の行だろう。さて、バトラの鎮水理はどこまで行けるか見ものだぜ。
Yeah, wait, what was the next line? Jessica grinned broadly. She seemed to be implying that she would have solved the puzzle long ago if it was that easy. Damn it. I'll definitely find it and keep it all for myself.
4行目。その里にて、二人が口にし、岸を探れ。
Yeah, who's the two?
二人ってのが何のことかわからねえが。
ただ以前にジョージ様から教えてもらっただけで。
Ayo?
2年前の私たちも同じ推理に行き着いたってわけさ。わざわざ地図を広げて調べたんだぜ。
小田原城の北に5キロくらいだったかな。そこには確かに蘇我岸という地名があるよ。
Okay, is there anything going on there?
でもそこからがわからないんだ。次の5行目にはその土地のどこに鍵があるかは記してない。マリアちゃん、読んでくれるかい？
I think the problem here is, and this is usually where riddles or puzzles or whatever tend to get a lot of people, such as me. You're reading too deeply into it. A lot of them convey not instructions of what to do, but more like a message, and you're supposed to portray or grab something from it that isn't, being, just blurted out at you. It's implied. Something is being implied, probably.
そこに黄金鏡への鍵が眠る。読めた。
蘇我市ったって広いだろうし、かつてそこに後宮家の家があったわけでもない。
The thing is here, there probably isn't a literal key. There's probably something that acts as like a key item or, something that is very important, but that is probably the extent of it. Yeah, see, I don't think that's the case. I think we're reading too much into it.
確かにな。
じいさまによく酒とか継がされてたろ？昔話とか聞かされたことないのか？
親方様は昔の話はほとんどされません。
No, he talks about a lot of weird bullshit, probably.
ただ、後宮家が滅びかけた
Or that.
関東大震災について。
懐かしき故郷というのが後宮家のルーツを指さないのであれば、小田原説は初めから間違ってることになっちゃうね。
Yeah, I'm thinking that's the same thing here because, again, it can't be that easy. It can't just be that explicit.
もちろん、蘇我氏の疑いが晴れたわけじゃないけれども、例えば、幼少の頃を小田原で過ごし、その後、遠方へ引っ越した可能性もあるだろうし。
Yeah, hometown can have like a lot of, meanings. He says beloved hometown, but if you've lived in a whole lot of areas growing up, then, well, which was his favorite? Or maybe he means something different by saying his beloved hometown. Maybe it wasn't necessarily a place he lived in, but a place that he adored, growing up. I don't know. Would that fit hometowns, like the hometown definition still, maybe? I don't know. Maria had been completely left out of the conversation, and she now sat puffing out her cheeks in boredom.
つまりだな。黄金すごろくの最初のスタート地点が決まらないことには、最初の5行で見つかるのは鍵だろ？鍵なんてなくても、扉はぶち壊して入ることだってできるはずだぜ。とりあえず最初の5行をすっ飛ばして、その先の推理に入ってもいいんじゃねえか？
Oh, that's actually some smart thinking.
おお、その発想はなかったぜ。
It's like in a test, technically, a multiple step question, if you will, which this kind of is, requires you to, well, do the first parts. But if you can create structure later down the line and then eventually fill in the blanks that you've, skipped over, there you go. Another way of looking at it is, so one of my professors back whenever I was attending university, I think he had a doctorate in logic or something along those lines. The dude was, crazy smart. He really was. But he told me that a secret to taking a test, and this could apply here too, read every single question, every single one. Don't start answering any of them unless you immediately know the answer and you can just jump right into it. What you want to do is you want to, read everything and then go back through and, do the parts that you think you can accomplish. So here, the first 5 lines, we're going to jump over, but we've read them. We've talked about them. So what's going to happen is that in the back of our mind, supposedly, your subconscious or whatever is going to start thinking about it. It's going to keep it in the back of your mind, and it's going to try and, deconstruct it a little bit and start to put it together. In a test, basically, while you're working on completely separate problems, your mind is constantly preparing you for working on the questions that you skipped over so you can work on the easier ones. I have no idea if that actually fits in here or if that's even, true, for test taking, but you know what? Give it a shot. And like I said here, we've thought about the first 5 lines or so. Okay, great. We can't really, have a conclusive answer on it. Let's just move ahead.
まあいいや。どうせ暇つぶしなんだ。
No, this is fun.
続きを聞かせろよ。
でも、その先からは急に物騒になるんですよね。
Yeah, we eventually get into the murder. Shunen-chan frowned slightly. After looking back at Maria's notebook to recall what was written there, yeah, I was forced to agree.
その第2の番の解釈を別にしても、 第1の番に6人、第4の番から第8の番までで5人。少なく見積もっても11人が生贄にされなきゃならない。
Sacrificed in what way? I mean, in the gruesome sense, yeah, we're killing, but I don't think that's necessarily the case here. Or at least I don't want to think that is the case.
ベアトリーチェが蘇るための生贄。
次の第10の番にゴールってことになってんな。みんな死んじまうのに黄金鏡へ至るだろうって言われても困ったもんだぜ。
Again, I do think we're reading too deeply into it. There's something that we're missing that allows us to jump over, you know, a dead end before we get to the finish line.
鍵を手に旅に出た当人も生き残れないに含めるのかどうかは解釈の分かれるところだね。
しかしよ、最後のところには面白いことが書いてあるぜ。ゴールした後、魔女からもらえる4つの宝の行だよ。一つは全ての黄金。
Okay, so now if this is following Kinzo's results, what he was able to get at the very beginning of his very successful career in investing a shit ton of money, then yeah, okay, one of the treasures was gold.
問題は次だ。全ての死者の魂を蘇らせるとあるぜ。
Okay, so if he actually went through the process of, you know, meeting this witch and sacrificing a good chunk of people, and by sacrificing I mean killing or whatever it is that was done, who did he sacrifice?
みんな死んじまったっていうのとかけてるような気がしねえか。
それを言われれば、次の失った愛すらも蘇らせるという部分は。
Wait, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I just want to look at something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh. Anyways.
第2の番の寄り添いし2人を引き裂けにかけているようにも見えますね。
そうだね。そして4つ目も第9の番にかけてある。第9の番に蘇った魔女を4つ目の宝が再び眠りにつかせている。
Which supposedly is basically how she is now, maybe? I mean, she isn't present whatsoever. So I guess you could say she's asleep.
死んだり別れさせたりと忙しいが、最後には全部チャラになるわけだな。目覚めた魔女も再び眠るし、手元にはたっぷりの黄金だけが残るって寸法だぜ。
死んだり蘇らせたり、別れさせたりくっつかせたりと、魔女様はお忙しいこったな。
ついでに起きたり眠ったりな。
Don't worry, we've gone through Higurashi. We're used to some pretty crazy shit. We'll be okay with people, you know, killing each other and maybe coming back to life or something, walking around dead or whatever.
違いないな。
I laughed along with Jessica. After all, the idea of a witch was just too ridiculous. Of course, once we started laughing like that, Maria, who believed in the witch, got angry.
魔女はすごい。魔法で何でもできる。殺すことも生き返らせることも愛を与えることも奪うことも空も飛べるし姿を透明にできるし黄金もパンも生み出せる。
It is really concerning. I'm going to say it's concerning. Really concerning that Maria is such a goddamn fan of Beatrice. So if Beatrice actually does pop out you know, who knows where at some point in all of this, well, she's got herself a fan. Just right off the bat, she's got like a partner in crime, if you will.
いけね。悪い悪い。冗談だよ。
Jessica apologized, sticking out her tongue, but Maria didn't accept it. She grabbed her notebook back out of my hands and, opening to some other pages, tried to prove that the witch existed. Those pages had colorful drawings of witches on them, and well conveyed the fantastical image Maria had of witches. It wasn't the normal sinister image of a crooked-nosed hag flying around on a broom, but a dreamlike person with unnatural powers who could do anything and wore a beautiful dress. It was just what you'd expect from an imaginative young girl. Flitting through the sky, crossing a rainbow, dancing around all night with a teacup and a teapot that would never get empty no matter how much you poured out of it. With a flourish of her staff, the stars in the sky would become candy and pour down, and flowers that produce sweets would bud by the roadside. To Maria, witches were the only concept that could embody the magical dream that so captivated her. As she grew older, it was the last remaining thing that could give richness to her dull and plain everyday life. That's why Maria believed in witches. She didn't want that dream of hers to be tarnished. That's why she didn't want anyone to tarnish the Epitaph, which affirmed the existence of witches. Damn, if witches do at some point pop out of nowhere, which I feel may happen. I mean, I don't know if there are necessarily witches that are going to pop up at some point in the story, but I do feel like shit is going to get crazy. I mean, we got 8 big-ass episodes that we have to, get through. A whole lot more characters I'm sure that we're bound to meet. I'm sure we're going to come across somebody that has the vibes of a witch or a vampire or there's some other crazy shit. I'm sure we're going to come across something, and Maria is prepared for it. But magic to revive the witch. So it was the single link between Maria and the witch. Maria was very angry and clung to George Aniki. Jessica and I scratched our heads and apologized. It might not be possible to smooth things over again like the time that she got mad in front of the portrait. Maria didn't seem willing to be easily consoled. Unlike Jessica and I, who hung our heads wondering what to do, Shonen-chan timidly opened her mouth.
マリア様、ご存知ですか?
Oh, here we go.
私たち使用人の間では、ベアトリーチ様の怪談が語り継がれているんですよ。
Oh, don't tell it. It's not gonna... What it's gonna do is gonna make Maria really happy and curious, and it's gonna make me really scared.
そうだったっけ？シャドン、聞かせてやれよ。私は知らないんだけど、使用人の間じゃかなり有名な話らしいぜ。
何の話だ？怪談？
僕たちが生まれる前からある話らしいね。母さんにも話を聞かされたことがあるよ。
はい。この島にお屋敷が建てられてからずっと語り継がれている話です。当時の使用人たちは、お屋敷には昼と夜で違う主がいるとささや。
One of the day and one of the night. The tale that Shonen told was just like one typical campfire ghost story. If there was a forest with a witch living inside it, then of course the witch would come pay the mansion a visit from time to time. At some point, this ghost story naturally sprouted up between the servants.
ちゃんと閉めたはずの窓や扉や鍵がもう一度見回りに来たら開いていたとか。
Oh, there's got to be like a good explanation for that shit. I mean, it's the same thing whenever you're like in an area that you're usually at during the day, such as where you work, like in an office building or something, and you're there alone at night, which is something very irregular. Things are going to seem a little out of the ordinary. Your ears are going to pick up on some noises that may seem a little odd, or you might see some things that are a little out of place just because it's nighttime. Come on. I mean, sure, maybe somebody forgot to, close some doors and windows and all that. Maybe just accidents happen.
消したはずの明かりがついていたり。
Yeah, again, probably just an accident.
つけたはずの明かりが消えていたり。
That I don't know.
置いたはずのものがなくなっていたり。置いた覚えのないものが置かれていたり。そういうことがあるたびに、古い使用人たちは、魔女が姿を消してお屋敷を訪れ、いたずらをしていったのだろうと、囁き合ったそうです。
Or they were just saying that because they were literally forgetting to do things, and they would blame it on a fictional being. That's the logical way of going about it.
ベアトリーチェはいる。
ああ、いるよな。私も昔よく登校の時に限ってカバンが見つからなかったりしたもんだぜ。
That's just you forgetting where your shit was. Maria puffed out her chest with an ooh-ooh as though this was final proof of the witch's existence. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this story is being told, so Maria is happy that she, reaffirms to everybody that, hey, yes, Beatrice exists. If I opened my mouth, Maria would probably be hurt again, so I didn't. I mean, you hear this kind of story everywhere. Depending on the place, they might blame it on a dwarf or an elf. Well, definitely not in my area, but the only difference is that they call it a witch on this island. Of course, walking around a vast, elegant mansion at night would be a little unsettling. It's an island devoid of people. Since the mansion is so drafty, walking around on the night of a thunderstorm would certainly be eerie. Honestly, there were times that I actually had to go to my workplace's office at night, which was very weird. And while I was working, alone, because again, it's nighttime, who would ever want to go to a fucking, office at night? I would always have my AirPods in and on the noise cancellation mode. So if there were any creepy noises or if ghosts were out and about, as they usually probably are during the nighttime, well, I didn't get to hear them. I got to avoid that mess because my fellow coworkers always said, yeah, there's some ghosts that pop up at night. Well, I didn't get to see them or hear them.
カノン君もそれらしいものを以前夜の見回りの時に見たことがあると言ってました。あと最近ではお屋敷の中で深夜に不思議な足音をよく聞くと使用人の間で話題です。
That's probably just somebody walking around at some other part of the mansion and it's creaking, somehow to your position. I don't fucking know, man. There's an explanation to everything, though. That's what I'm trying to say.
お屋敷の中を散歩しているんだろうと囁き合ってるんですよ。ずいぶん前ですが、私もそうかもしれない足音を夜の見回りの時に聞いたことがあります。
ひゅー、そりゃ怖えな。
Yeah, don't get me wrong, if I were in her shoes and I was hearing footsteps while I was all alone, I would probably shit myself and give up. I'd probably be scared. That would be it. I'm going to bed. I suck when it comes to scary stuff. Honestly, whenever I've watched something scary or played something scary or even anything just eerie, afterwards it's like, it is quiet in my home because it's midnight. And man, it would be crazy if some crazy, wicked and scary shit was just watching me from the corner of my room or just somewhere in the house while I'm walking around. Just, you get things embedded in your head and you do start to hear things and see things and sense things that aren't actually there.
でも怯えることはないんですよ。ベアトリーチェ様は親方様とは異なるもう一人のお屋敷の主です。だから変に怯えたりしないで敬意を持っていれば決して悪いことはしないのだそうです。
Yeah, tell yourself that, please.
ただし敬意を持たないと恐ろしいんだったね。
はい。私が勤めを始める直前にベアトリーチェ様のことを悪く言っていたそうです。
Ah, alright.
だから使用人たちはベアトリーチェ様のお怒りに触れたのだろうと噂し合ったそうです。バトラとチェシカきっとお怒りに触れる。
Oh, come on.
わあ、悪かったぜ。お怒りに触れちゃたまるね。謝るよ、マリア。もちろん魔女様にも謝るぜ。ベアトリーチェ様、ごめんなさい。よそ者のザレ言と思って勘弁してやってください。
私も謝るぜ。ベアトリーチェ様、ごめんなさい。これで魔女様、私たちを許してくれるかな？
わかんない。魔女は気まぐれだから許してくれるときは許してくれるし、許さないときは許さない。
Oh, how informed you are.
それは困ったね。マリアちゃん、バトラ君とジェシカちゃんがベアトリーチェ様のお怒りに触れないようにするいいおまじないとかないかな？何か魔除けとかさ。
By relying on Maria, who was proud of knowing the most about witches, George was trying to revive her self-esteem. Once again, I gotta admire his ability to calm kids down. After taking a moment to cross her arms and seriously ponder whether there might be a charm that could save us, she started flipping through the pages in her notebook. I thought it was just a scribbled diary, but there also seemed to be quite a few pages that looked like they had come from a book on black magic. Maria solemnly considered a group of these pages which contained things that looked like magic circles. Apparently grandfather wasn't the only one with a black magic copy. Yeah, I guess I was gonna say something along the lines of like, you know, it got passed down. His crazy black magic hobby really got passed down, one of the lines here. When Maria finally found what she was looking for, she snapped the notebook shut and threw it into her handbag. She then began fishing through the bag's contents. There seemed to be various jumbled up things in there. After a while, she took out various pieces of junk, although they were probably important magical items to Maria, and repeatedly threw them back in, saying that they were wrong. It was all a little humorous, just like when, Doraemon took out the wrong tool? Sorry, that is a reference I don't get, but finally she seemed to discover what she was looking for. With a face that was unimaginably cheery, when compared to the intense expression that she had worn until now, she held those out to Jessica and me. What is it? I grabbed it and saw that it was a very cheap-looking charm. It looked like a bracelet made from a plastic rosary, with a scorpion-themed metal attached, excuse me. Haven't you ever seen those cheap Zodiac-themed accessories? Oh man, I've seen so many Zodiac-themed stuff. Zodiac and all, man. What are the other ones? Shoot, I'm blanking on it. Yeah, people believe in a lot of things that don't make a whole lot of sense, but they like to believe into it because it's just fun, you know? It's those things, you know? The kind you might win in a crane game at an arcade. It really looked like something like that. There were two of them, probably one for me and one for Jessica. However, the very fact that there were two of them made them feel even more like cheap manufactured goods, making it pretty hard to think of them as magical items.
これを私とバトラに？
このお守りならベアタリーチェも大丈夫。サソリは魔除けの力があるから。
そうなのか？サソリにそんな力がねえ。
バトラが信じない。
Oh, come on, give the poor guy a break. I had said too much and angered Maria again. Maria took out her notebook again, pointing out various pages as she went on and on about how the scorpion had such incredible holy power that it had been used in magic-repelling magical circles since ancient times.
他の使用人の子から聞いたことがあります。サソリって魔術では魔除けのシンボルとして描かれることもあるんだとか。
へえ、そうなのか。
サソリは悪い魔法や災厄から守ってくれる。そしてエメラルドは心に平和をもたらしてくれる。だから二重で効果がある。
ほんとだ。サソリがエメラルドを抱いて守ってるね。なるほど。これはご利益がありそうだよ。
I really wanted to make fun of those worthless-looking charms, but as I watched Maria explaining with all of her heart and realized that she had found them for our sakes, I started to feel like it might actually work, even if it was just a prize from some game center. Honestly, it's a kid giving you something. Just accept it, you know, appreciate what they're trying to do for you, and just move on. The material quality of the charm didn't matter. What mattered was the strength of her feelings. Even I don't think of myself as the sort of loser who would laugh at something like that.
そっか。ありがとな。ベアトリーチェ様には謝ったけどよ。万が一タタリがある時でも、マリアのこのお守りのおかげで安心だぜ。な、ジェシカ。
ああ、そうだぜ。ありがとうな、マリア。
心に平安が欲しい時は腕につける。お財布に入れるとお金が減らなくなる。
Okay, I wonder about that one.
ドアノブにかけておくと悪いものが入ってこられなくなる。便利なお守り。それはすごい効能ですね。マリア様が自信を持って進めるお守りならきっと頼もしいものと思います。
Shonen clapped her hands together and Maria stuck out her chest. The child is happy. All is well. She was totally in a good mood again. And it's probably best if we let her lead the conversation a bit longer, if it'll keep her in such a good mood. Come to think of it, she looked a bit bored when we were getting excited about the hidden gold, probably because she couldn't keep up. While eating the cookies that Kumasawa-san had baked, I actually kind of forgot about those, Jessica and I asked Maria this and that about black magic. Maria happily chatted away in response to our questions. Each time, George, Aniki, and Shannon-chan would act surprised or chime in. The clouds in the sky grew darker and darker, but we cousins really enjoyed communicating freely after a year of separation. That's nice. It's a nice little beach trip here.
今、額にポタって来なかったかい?
Uh-oh, that means it's time to call it for this video because I am really out of time. I'm like 15 minutes over what I was wanting to record, which seems to be a regular occurrence here. But alrighty, there we go. God damn, I've already clicked 4,300 times, plus how many I actually clicked in the first recording session. But yeehaw, almost 8 hours. Let's go, gamers. Now this was a good one. I really enjoyed this one. Honestly, every recording session has been like a whole bunch of fun, even if it's just like a bunch of information dumps. Nothing has really technically gone down yet, but I feel like the stage is getting set for some crazy, batshit insane things to happen during the night. Once the nighttime hits, guys, it's going down. It's going down in the arena, on the stage. It's going to be crazy, or at least that's how I feel. I really do hope that that is the case. My expectations are getting pretty high for when the nighttime comes, but it looks like the storm is coming. So that'll be a nice sign. You know, storms always bring great news. But thank you all for watching this one. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy.